Hello everybody, it's Amanda. How are you doing? Today is March the 20th, 2020. So we've got a lot of 20s. 20th of 2020. Maybe I'll talk a little bit about that. I haven't made any notes for today and I haven't got any songs necessarily to give you, although we'll see if one comes through. I'm actually feeling a little bit below par myself today, but I have made this promise that I'm going to come on for you all. So I want to do that as much as I can. There might be some days where I'm not able to do it, but anyway, it's nice to be with you today. And it's also nice to see how many of us are joining together on these daily broadcasts. So yeah, I've woken, well, I didn't wake up. I woke up yesterday with a sore throat. And of course, you straight away go into a bit of like, oh my God, you know, have I got it? But I actually think it's just a cold, but I'm not complacent, so I'm not seeing my mum today. And my daughter had a cold actually last week, so I think it's probably just a cold, but my head's feeling a bit stuffed full of cotton wool, so I'm just going to go and say a few things today and then go and rest for the rest of today, all right? Anyway, where are we at? Here in the UK, today is the last day of school for those in England, and I'm in England. So my daughter went off for her last day today. It's a very strange feeling, actually. And for us, it's actually quite a big day because she won't be going back at all. It's really quite ironic that we had made the decision to homeschool her. And it was going to be happening from April the 3rd, I think was the date, which I guess was the day where schools would have broken up for Easter. And she's 13, by the way, my daughter. So yeah, it was, and now, of course, all of her friends are going to be effectively at home anyway. So for us, it's probably quite a nice transition into a new way of doing things. But yeah, she's gone into school today to say goodbye, you know, to her friends, basically, in that setting for a while, well, forever, actually. And it's a completely new dawn for us. So how appropriate, actually, that it's on spring equinox. It did strike me that the reality, of course, I'm not going to get into homeschooling on this video. I might talk about it another time, but not now. The reasons why and all the rest of it. But what I would like to say is that, of course, when all this is over, kids will go back to school and life will return back to normal, and that's good. But I do think it's showing that there are different ways of doing things, and that might actually come into schooling as well. I suspect that a few people, there's going to be some people who embrace this experience of their kids maybe being off until September, which is an awfully long time. We're talking 6 months is what they're saying. Worst case scenario that it might be that the kids could be off for 6 months. Well, you can't just have children sitting around for 6 months doing nothing. They will go stir crazy, as will you. So there's going to have to be a degree of education, and some of that I suspect is going to come, the onus will come onto parents. So, and I think some parents are going to be discovering, actually, I quite enjoy doing this, I can do this. And for a small percentage, they might find that, you know, a new model of education for their child might come into play. Not for the majority, but for a minority. And I know that because I've been told that that is what's going to happen. But for us, it feels as though we already had made that decision. So yeah, but it's bringing up a lot of feelings and emotions. And you know, this is the last day of my children being at school, full stop. So it's the end of an era, and maybe I should raise a toast to that tonight, hey? A hot toddy or something to help me with how I'm feeling today. I got my dragon on today, look at that. I felt like I needed a bit of dragon energy to help us through these times. And I also felt like I needed a bit of my leopard skin as well. So let's pull some cards for today. Yeah, it is spring equinox, the day where we have equal day and equal night, equal light and equal night. And it's spring equinox here in the UK where I am. I guess in different parts of the world it's the opposite to that. It says that it comes into being at 3:49. So I guess we've already missed that. I wasn't up at 3:49. Should we just pull some cards and see what messages want to come through today? Okay. The spray that I feel that is most appropriate today is probably the Hope spray. And I'm just thinking, have I even got it in front of me? The answer to that is probably no. Okay, right. Well, maybe I won't use that one. I'll use what I've got to hand. And actually, in many ways, that's what we're all having to do, isn't it? It's like we're having to make do with whatever we have to hand. And be a little bit more resourceful. So I think the symbolism in the fact that the one that I was going to go to isn't actually here at the moment. So I will use something else. Right, what I'm going to use instead is, I'm going to use this one. Tangerine Blush, which is linked into the Sacral Chakra. A beautiful tutti frutti colour, pink and yellow. And links to the Sacral Chakra. So we're all going to be being asked to do things in a more creative way for the times that we're in. So let's just have a spray of this and tune into the ray of it, linking into your Sacral Chakra. So linking into your Sacral Chakra and remembering the untapped reservoir that you have there of the ability to be resourceful, be creative, be able to juggle, be able to multitask, be able to do more than you think you can. And it's really interesting because what I'm feeling as I've sprayed that is, yes, it's gone to my sacral, but I'm really feeling it also around my shoulders. Any of you feeling that? My shoulders and my arms have actually gone cold. They've gone really cold. But cold in a way that you often get when you can feel spirit around you. So those of you that tune into spirit know that one of the signs that they are around often is there is a cooling in the room. There's a cooling of the temperature. And my arms are just gone like icy cold. So what's that all about? It feels a bit like being enveloped in a lovely hug is the first thing I would say. Okay, I'm being shown the womb, because the Sacral Chakra is obviously linked into the womb, for women anyway. And if you think about the baby in the womb, everything is provided for it by the mother. It doesn't have to necessarily fend for itself because it has its food, it has its oxygen, it has everything that it needs inside the womb. And it feels as though we are being, again, this thing about cocooning, retreating, excuse me, self-isolating, whatever you want to call it, is very much a cocoon type experience for us all. And so this image of being almost like within the womb again, but here it's as though we are within the womb of Mother Earth, okay? So it's helping to heal the base chakra wounding that we have, which is sending a lot of people into panic that they don't have enough, there isn't enough food, which is why people are panicking and stripping the supermarkets bare, even though there is plenty for everybody. It's base chakra wounding. It's that thing that I'm not safe, and so therefore I have to panic, I have to go into fear. Whereas if we take it up to the next chakra, which is the sacral, and we imagine ourselves back in the womb of Mother Earth, and we appreciate that Mother Earth is abundant, she is fertile, she has everything that we need to get us through this experience, then it just brings a great sense of peace, I'm feeling. And I'm being shown little animals here, something along the lines of like a little squirrel or something that is that are able, animals that basically, store food. They are wise in that respect, but they don't take at the expense of other animals. They just take what they need to see them through, usually the winter months. But of course, we're making this on spring equinox. It's as though the seasons are all very up and down at the moment. And it is weird because I know I'm sitting here and it's spring equinox and I probably should be sitting here with a bunch of daffodils and, all the rest of it and talking about the yellow ray. But, these are strange times. And for many people, they're not actually even able to go out necessarily and walk in the springtime flowers. If you can, of course, do. That will really help you. But I'm very mindful that a lot of people, you know, in certain cities and different countries are sort of in a lockdown scenario, and it's as though they can't necessarily smell the scent of the spring flowers, which are out there doing their thing, but yet you can't get to them necessarily. So we have to bring them to us. We have to bring the energy of the flowers to us. And I think it might be nice to pull a card which links into flowers at this point. And I'm going to turn to one of my most loved decks, actually, which I've shared with you before, and it's very precious. And let me get it for you. So this deck is called the Divic Nature Insight Cards by Ursula Selwood. And I've showed these to you before. And the thing is, you can't get them anymore because Ursula died a few years ago now. She was a client of mine, and it was very shocking the way she died very suddenly and unexpectedly. But she left this legacy of these beautiful cards, and they all have different energies of different flowers on them. And then there's an affirmation on the back of each one as well. And I'm lucky enough, she gifted me one of these decks basically, so I still have it and I can use it. They are mandalas, but they are based around flowers. So and on the back is an affirmation for each one. So I feel as though on this day of equinox, I'm going to pull a card for us, okay? Let's see what flower energy wants to come through and what affirmation. Okay, that's the one. And it says, I trust. It's crystals and rose, basically. So it depicts the rose and crystals. And the affirmation is, I trust myself unconditionally. I trust myself unconditionally. It's not just that you should be trusting yourself unconditionally at this time. It's the fact that you should also be trusting unconditionally Mother Earth to provide for us, to see us through these issues that we have in our midst at the moment. And equally, I'm being shown Mother Earth as this very amazing, ancient, sentient being, which she is. But she's like the real wise mother that's able to steer us through these times. And I've been talking a little bit on my videos, haven't I, over the last few months about mothering as an energy and how important that was at the moment for our world and how much we needed to dip into that nurturing, mothering energy to see us through. And it's almost as though we've forgotten the greatest mother out there, which is actually Mother Earth. And just look at what she's doing today. So as I say, for example, where I am in England, yeah, whatever else is going on in the world, the daffodils are coming out, the snowdrops are out, the crocuses are out, the birds are doing their thing. It's just, you know, it's normal. The birds are just tweeting as I said that. So it's as though she's really trying to steady us at this time. And I'm just being shown the womb. It's as though if we imagine that we're within her womb, she will help to see us through these days. Okay, so I think that's really lovely. Just want to pull that one as well. Yeah, I want to do that one. So there's definitely something coming through about working with both crystals and flowers at the moment. Because this one, it also talks about quartz crystals and gold. And this is, I am loving and living abundance. I am loving and living abundance. If you think about that energy as an affirmation, that's almost the complete opposite of what we're seeing out there at the moment in terms of people panicking, which is they're not feeling abundant, they're not feeling loved, they're not feeling nurtured, they're not feeling as though they're in this womb-like experience. They're feeling as though they've been turfed out of the womb unexpectedly and having to fend for themselves, and, you know, which is why we're seeing all these meltdowns. But if we can just stay in this energy, which is I am loving and living abundance, and equally I trust myself unconditionally, well, that's going to do a lot to help. Okay, it's going to do a lot to help. So with those two there, I think what I will do is I'm going to pull a card from the Earth Magic deck again, which I'm still feeling, Stephen Farmer, and I'm going to pull a card from my own deck, the Metatron deck. So let's firstly pull a card from Stephen's deck and see what we get for today. So Spring Equinox. One card, please. I think there is a card of Equinox in here, but I don't know whether we'll get it. music. Okay, we've got music, the energy of music. This card always links me very strongly into Archangel Sandalphon in terms of the angelic frequencies, because Sandalphon is very linked into the power of music, the power of sound, the power of rhythm to heal, but equally the power of bird song, which I don't know if you can hear on this recording, but I can hear as I'm speaking to you. But it's also to do with harmony, okay? So, I mean, come on, if you've watched me, you know how much I love music, and you know how often I give you songs. And it's interesting, today I haven't got a song to give you, but in many ways what Sandalphon is saying here is it's almost like a day to make your own music, okay, whatever that means. And that's not about being a musician. If you are a musician, brilliant, get the guitar out, or if you're a singer, sing. But for those of you that don't feel as though you are musical, what I'm hearing is you all have music within you. You all have the ability to make music. And it's a bit like beauty. What they're saying is it's a bit like beauty. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, in the same way that music actually works along those same principles, which is why when we look at the type of music that we love, one person can love one particular genre or one particular composer or one particular instrument or one particular singer, and somebody else will just be like, oh no, can't stand that. So there's this thing here about making your own music today. And the easiest way probably to do it is via your voice, okay? And it's interesting, of course, I've got this issue with my voice today, or my throat anyway. But again, a way to help heal that is to do some chanting, maybe toning. One chant that I use a lot myself is Nam Myo Rengi Kayo, Nam Myo Rengi Kayo, Nam Myo Rengi Kayo. I just love it. So I might be doing a bit of that today. But you know, you all will have your own different chants and the meaning behind what you're doing. It could just be one word, you know, that you are focusing on and repeating. I've said to you before the power of actually saying your name. You know, when you say your name, you are noticing the essence of who you are. If I say Amanda, Amanda becomes real. Amanda is an energy, and I can imbue into that health, I can imbue into that positivity, I can imbue into that strength. So it's very important to be speaking words of love as well at this moment in time, words of harmony, words of balance. Okay, so music coming through as a great healer. As my husband crashes and bangs downstairs in the kitchen, emptying the dishwasher. Can you hear that? We've got the volcano card on the bottom of the deck as well, volatility. Which I think is just a nod to the explosive emotions that are around at the moment, and it needing release. You know, an interesting thing actually, which I've not really thought about before, but it's true, isn't it? Which is that any something like a virus, which is in our midst at the moment, if you take it down to a more common level, so think about something like a common cold. Often, you must have heard this before in the spiritual teachings, there is this belief, and I believe it as well, that when you get something like a cold, even though it's germ related, of course, there is also an opportunity for a great cleansing of the body, you know, and that is linked into our emotions. Our emotional body gets a chance to cleanse as well. And it comes out, you know, whether it's through phlegm, whether it's through guitar, but it's like releasing something that's deep within the lungs, deep within the body, getting it out. And then I often see it around Christmas time in particular. Lots of people get unwell around the seasonal changes, you know, but and it's to do with welcoming in the new year. I've said that before. You know, it's like you need to have a purge. So what we have in our midst at the moment, with regard to the virus, it's as though there is a big purge going on, because the truth is the vast majority of people recover from this. They might feel a little bit unwell with it, but they recover from it. But just think of the purge that's actually happening within the people that are throwing this virus off. So, you know, this card here to me is also a nod to what needs to be released from within us. So that's what I want to say about that. There's obviously another interpretation, which is, you know, Mother Earth might be giving us a sign there about, you know, some volcanic activity. I don't know. Let's pull a card from the Metatron deck now. How are you all doing today? How are you all doing today? I love reading all your comments. They're all so supportive to each other, which is lovely. It's lovely to see everybody supporting each other and coming together as one. Okay. One card, please, Archangel Metatron. Detach from drama. Yeah, and on the bottom of the pack, the wake-up call. This is something I actually said to my mum the other day. We were watching the news, and it's as though, I feel as though some people, this is a bit of a contentious thing to say, but I'm going to just spit it out anyway. I feel as though some people are actually getting off on the drama of it all. And this is particularly linked into the media, you know. And it isn't helpful at all, because we do have a problem in our midst, okay? We do have a problem in our midst. But to dwell on it too much, you know, for that to be the all-consuming thing that's going through your mind 24/7 if you're watching the news, is really not a good idea, you know, because this person who's locked into the drama of it all, you know, watching for every update, you know, what's the latest number of deaths today? What's the latest thing the Prime Minister has said? Of course, we need to keep ourselves informed. But what we don't need to do is get too much into what Metatron is calling here drama, because this card is detached from drama. And the point is that when you're completely obsessed by everything that you can read on it, for example, or just thinking about it all the time and dwelling on it too much, what you're actually missing is all this beauty that's all around. So here she sits in this field, surrounded by all these beautiful flowers, surrounded by the sunlight, surrounded by a magenta rainbow, surrounded by just beauty of nature. Again, beauty of nature. But yet she can't see any of it because she's just completely and utterly absorbed in what is wrong at the moment. I'm getting a very strong call myself to be switching off social media a lot more than I normally do. And what I'm doing and what I'm finding helpful is I'm posting my video every day, which I've said I'm going to do on my Facebook page. I'm putting it up on YouTube. I'm looking at your comments coming in. I'm moderating that and I'm enjoying that. But what I'm not doing is then spending, you know, the rest of the day on Facebook or anything like that. I'm actually trying to just switch it off. So it's as though, this feels as though it's a big opportunity to be very discerning in terms of who you're listening to, what you're reading, and then if you find a couple of good sources, whoever they are, you know, of whatever genre, stick with that. But you don't need to be listening to all of these different voices. I'm personally finding it overwhelming on Facebook, for example, at the moment, because it's just like, I don't need to hear, if I've got 400 friends, I don't need to hear all of the 400 perspectives. So just choose one or two. It doesn't have to be me, it could be anybody. But I think that will help you, because if you absorb too much information from too many different sources, what you do is you go into overwhelm mode, which is what we don't want. And then you almost go into like a physical lockdown of your body, actually. Your brain can't process it all. Your heart shuts down and it's just like you're no use to anybody. So Metatron saying is detach where you can. He's not saying be uninformed, but he's saying detach from the drama as much as you can. Okay, and appreciate the beauty that's all around. Because it goes with this card. We're going through a wake-up call scenario with the world, okay? And if you listen to every single bit of doom-mongering out there and scaremongering and every different hypothesis of what might be going on, you are going to go into overwhelm, okay? So detach where you can. Just take the information that resonates, leave the rest. And personally, I think it's a time to be limiting exposure to a lot of social media. So, because the thing is, otherwise, it's really interesting. We're being told to retreat and go within, okay? Maybe you can't go to work. I'm very aware lots of people are still working, okay? A lot of us are still working. So not everybody is just at home painting or, you know, crocheting or whatever. There's a lot of people still working. But equally, we're being told to just go within, not go out so much, which is our chance to reset ourselves, to find some peace, to realign, to calm, to learn, to educate ourselves, but not to just spend every minute of the day on the computer, you know, or Twitter or Instagram or whatever. And I know I'm obviously speaking to you on YouTube here, but again, I've cut it down to just a couple of people on YouTube that I'm following at the moment, and that's enough for me. I don't need to be following, you know, 50 people. It's too much. I can't take it all in. I get sent so many different videos of so many different people, and I think a lot of people don't get why I'm not watching them, you know, and it's just, I can't do it. I'm just trying to stay focused, and we don't need this plethora of more. We actually need less. And then when you're choosing less, what actually happens is you're choosing the books, the films, the channels, the TV stations, whatever, that actually make the most sense. Okay, let's end with a squirt of something. I'm going to use my pirate oil. I love the smell of this, have to say. Thieves' oil, it's called in another country. Oh, it's lovely. Let's have a squirt of crimson base chakra. So we've done the sacral, let's just do a bit of crimson. Let's just feed our base chakra. Red energy. Ah, feels good. Colour, sound has always been the thing that gets me through anything. Red, crimson energy. Ground. A lot of people are not grounded at the moment. So make sure that you're grounding yourself as much as you can. If you're not able to get outside, you're going to have to be using other ways to do it. Colour being one of them. Imagining red in the base chakra. Working on your earth star chakra, which is beneath your feet. Working with crystals. Eating grounding foods, rooty vegetables. But of course, if you can, get outside, even if it's standing in your garden, barefoot if it's not covered in snow, just for a couple of minutes. But if you can, obviously walking out in nature, if you're able to do that in your country, social distancing, etc. Okay, guys, I'm going to leave it there. I'll be back tomorrow. Wishing everybody much love. Take care of yourselves. Have a good one. Happy equinox, everybody. Bye-bye.